Home is where connections are made, memories are formed, and ideas are born. And no one knows home better than NFM. Thanks for tuning in to I Am Home, the podcast that goes deeper than trends and dives into what it means to make your house a home.
Well, welcome to I Am Home, the All Things Home podcast. I'm Tyler Weiskup, joined by my co-host who conquers life like a mixer. She whips it real good.
Oh my gosh.
Becca Subbeck.
I can't. Hi, Tyler.
Hi, Becca. And like a toaster, she's always popping. It's my other co-host, Hillary Waltemath.
Hey.
Hi, Hillary. This month, we're talking all things hot, bringing you the best tips and tricks to stay cool while enjoying the summer heat. And today's episode is especially refreshing because we're talking to an NFM expert on all things small appliances. So hence my puns here earlier. We're sharing advice to help you keep your home cool while serving up all your favorite summer treats, from air fryers to ice cream makers. We've got you covered. But before we get to that, let me tell you why we're even doing this podcast. And that's because NFM is more than just your everything home store. We're in the business of improving lifestyles because your home life should be your best life. You can learn more at nfm.com. And she's here to talk small appliances, but it is a big deal for us on the podcast. It's Ivy Hofstetter. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me with those intros.
Right?
I feel like those were great.
Thanks, Ivy. Well, again, overdue to have you. You've been with NFM for 10 plus years.
Mhm.
You've worked all over in our appliance division. You're a division merchandising manager and not just an expert. You're a self-proclaimed appliance nerd.
You got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. You're married. You've got a 5, almost 6-year-old daughter,
Mhm.
a 1.5-year-old boy. Gosh, you just come with a wealth of experience, knowledge in appliances, and I feel like your home life probably you've used a small appliance here or there or two.
A lot of use cases in the home life,
Yeah.
before kids and after.
Okay,
So, yeah.
excellent.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to dive into it. So, when you were setting out, let's talk about this a little bit. When you were setting out your life plan as a kid, were you thinking you'd make a career out of buying appliances? Did that feel like
Oh
the
my
natural place that
gosh.
you'd go?
You know what's funny is I never thought I would be here. I grew up in a salon. I grew up with my mama owned a salon, and so I was always there, and I was in the business one way or the other. I went to college, I graduated, and I was a buyer for beauty.
Oh, wow.
So I definitely went that route and thought that might be my future, and I loved it. I loved the creativity. I loved that it helped people make them and help them feel better about themselves,
Sure, yeah.
and that piece of it was really cool. But I found myself here, and I feel like one of the things that I love the most about NFM is we improve people's lifestyles, and there's a direct correlation with that. And how I felt like growing up, it was always about how, can you improve somebody in the way that they feel about themselves and they take care of themselves and their families. And I feel that about NFM here too. And the way that I ended up at NFM was really through buying. I was a buyer. So I got in as a buyer with the appliance team. And I remember when I started, I was like, oh my gosh, our appliances don't seem very sexy, because I came from that beauty world where everything was creative and fun and sexy and edgy. And I started, and I just quickly became addicted because there are so many great things about NFM in general, but also about appliances. And it's easy to become an appliance nerd because it's so applicable to your everyday life, which is fun.
I mean, you probably use them every day.
You do. It's an intrinsic, basic part of someone's life.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and I'm also kind of hooked on how do you care for your family or yourself in whatever season or stage you're in. And I think we have something for that in appliances, but also just across NFM in general. So I love that.
That's really beautiful.
And a fantastic segue to our topic today, because obviously it's summertime, it's hot out, and we wanted to talk about small appliances because there's a lot of uses for them in general, but during this time of year, there's a lot of benefits to using small appliances instead of maybe the bigger ones in your home, which will help heat things up. Can you talk a little bit, Ivy, about what are some of the most effective small appliances for helping to kind of keep your house cool during the
Mhm.
summertime.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit it already. For obvious reasons, getting your oven and range going
Mhm.
creates more heat in your home. And so there's a lot of different things that are available within small appliances that can help you cook for your family, create lots of different yummy things that you don't have to start your range for. And the great thing about the industry now is there's a lot of product that are multi-use.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Multi-function. So air fryers that can also do other things. And so air fryers are a big one I recommend. Also crock pots, Instapots, things that are easy to create, like when you start in the morning, you can put in your crock pot, and then when you get home, it's ready to go. And so that's the other thing too, time saving. So not just how do you keep the heat out of your house, but how do you save yourself time? Because no matter what you're doing, everybody really has just a few precious hours that they get to do something at the end of the day. And so I think I would recommend definitely those multi-use cookers, the rice cookers, the air fryers, toaster ovens. Microwaves are making a resurgence in terms of people using them to cook. I don't know if you guys have seen Dave Chang with Momofuku. He just came out with a whole new like microwave line, not the line of microwaves, so to speak, but how to cook effectively with new products and things. So those are things that I would recommend. It keeps the heat out of your kitchen. It's easy to set it and kind of forget it, come back to it, and you can have healthy meals for yourself and your family.
You know what appliance I love in the summer is I don't know that it's like multi-use, but the Uni pizza oven is my favorite appliance in the summer months.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So Uni is so great, right? And that's one of the things I got into making pizza dough during the pandemic. And, you know, I became very into making things obviously at home for reasons, that we couldn't go out. But yes, like the Uni pizza oven is such a great way to have such a fun, and it's a fun thing too,
Yeah.
right?
Everybody
It's
can
like
make their own.
Yeah, make your own.
And it's so fast.
Mhm.
It's so fast.
It's like literally 90 seconds. And then you just,
What?
you got,
Yes.
it's a little it's hot.
Yeah.
It's very hot, so you got to get real confident in putting
and
it
you're
in
launching.
and taking it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a learning curve to it for sure. But once you figure it out,
Mhm.
you can make dinner in no time at all.
I love that. And it's so fun to just kind of be outside,
Mm-hmm.
enjoy it. And yeah, we have the full assortment of Uni, which there's something for everyone across all of our assortment, I feel like. But Uni, you can start at the opening price point or the smallest size and go all the way up, but they have an electric one now too.
Yeah.
So not just outside, there's an electric one that you can take outside or you can leave it inside. It does the same thing.
Interesting.
So it's kind of cool.
That's really
The
cool.
Volt.
I'll have to check that one out. We were early adopters and had the pellet one.
I know.
Yeah, which is at a learning curve, but we figured it out now.
Yeah, it's such a cool factor. I mean, you always do everything ahead of everyone else.
I love trends, don't I, Tyler?
You're so good at it, Hillary.
You are good at it.
So you said that I'm curious, let's dive a little bit more into the Uni selection, because you said we've got the suite of it. So there's the plug-in style, there's a pellet style. Are they all pizza ovens? Is that?
Yeah, they're all pizza ovens. There is the first one is I would say the first one that I think in my mind, because from an assortment perspective, it's a little bit smaller. You can do pellet, or there's another fuel type. I think it's propane.
Yeah, propane,
Yeah,
and I
so you
think a wood burning one too,
yeah,
right?
and there's a wood burning one. So
Wow.
based on which style suits you from a size perspective, you can choose the fuel type. And then it goes through the line kind of based on style, and you can choose what you need for fuel type. And then at I think it's the $9.99 price point is where the Volt lives, which is it's electric. So
Nice,
that's the piece that you can move it indoor, you can move it outside, but it also doesn't have a transfer of power. So if you create or you make a pizza on one and you take the pizza off, it's ready to go immediately. So
Crazy.
sometimes electric is different with transfer of power and what that looks like. It's seamless. So it's essentially like a regular pizza oven, but it's electric. So it's very cool.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. So we're talking about some of the other kinds of products that may be helpful this time of year. Are there specific brands or ones that you gravitate towards if you're helping to think through solutions for folks that may be trying to find either an air fryer that works best for them, a microwave, what kind of things kind of stand out to you when you're helping folks think about what they should gravitate towards?
Well, I think it kind of depends on the category and what you're looking for, right? So there's brands that are kind of known within their category. You know, one brand that's pretty large for us is KitchenAid, and it's like stand mixers. They're kind of known for different things. They came out with coffee this year. They have a Go ecosystem, which I think is kind of cool. And I thought it would be a great way to talk about like things you can do in the summer with small appliances.
Yeah.
But the Go ecosystem is all battery powered product. So, and this one battery unit goes on every single thing, whether it's an immersion blender or a blender for your drinks or, you know, a food processor.
Like choppers.
And choppers. Yeah. So it moves from product to product, which is really cool.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah. And so you could take it outside if you have
and you don't have to plug it in.
Right. You don't have to plug it in and you just use this battery and you could take it on the boat if you want to make something on the boat or you can take it when you're camping or, you know, you can use it all over the place. So that's a really cool thing. So KitchenAid has a large breadth of assortment for small appliances in general, like not just the stand mixer, but this Go ecosystem, coffee, things like that. But otherwise, like Ninja is another really great brand. They've got a large assortment of product that's applicable across small appliances, whether it's cookers or the creamy or, you know, things that you're making smoothies in and all sorts of things like that. And then, you know, Smeg is like an aesthetic brand that we have that's really beautiful.
So beautiful.
And that's one of the things I love about small appliances too, is they become so aesthetically pleasing and really like the form.
Not just functional.
Right. The form and function kind of blend into your overall life's aesthetic, which is so important to so many of us. But that's one of the things I love about appliances and how far we've come in such a little bit of time. You know, you see the fluting and all of those things that are so current within the appliances now. So I would say, you know, depending on what you're looking for juicers, Omega is another big brand that is, you know, trusted, that customers come in looking for. For small appliances, we actually consider Dyson as part of that too. So Dyson has a lot of really great products. Not so much cooking, but like hair care and things that make your life easier.
Is that hair dryer like not hot?
Yeah, it's not hot. So, and there's
That would
also
help keep you cool.
So fast.
I know.
It cuts down the time and
I've contemplated this Dyson hair dryer for a lot of years. When my next one goes, I feel like, but is it weird to dry your hair with a flat? Like that's where I don't know if I can wrap my head around it.
How close?
Yeah. Like,
So
I don't know if
I
I can do it even.
I know. It's really interesting that you said that because they came out with that hair dryer like 4 years ago or what have you. But they have another one that came out where it actually senses how close it is to your scalp and the temperature.
Oh, it like adjusts?
And it tells you, like, so it's like, hey, like
you're burning your scalp.
Now that you're this close, I'm getting a little cooler and it will actually like.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
I forget what they call it. It's adaptive. That's what it is.
Yes.
Adaptive technology.
That's really
Which
cool.
is really cool. And the thing about that is they also have a lot of product knowledge as it relates to like your overall health of your scalp and things. So getting off on tangents, which is fun, right? But it's not cooking, but it is something that saves
there's
you
literal
time
hot and cold in it too. So I feel like it's still really on topic, Ivy. Let's give us credit.
If you're really desperate, you just hit that cool button and like, you know,
yeah, it's a fan.
Also,
I use it after the gym. I use it after the gym on the cool setting. Seriously.
There you go. That's so smart. I love that.
Yeah, so we've been taking off some brands and things that people may consider. Can we talk a little bit about, because you mentioned like some of the smoothies, you mentioned like the creamy making ice creams, that kind of thing. I'd love to kind of dive into like the summer treat angle, and how some small appliances might be able to help you kind of share those memories with the ones that you love.
Yeah, I think that's great. So first of all, I mean, everybody kind of has different memories. Like we talked coming in, like summer swimming and things like that. But ice cream makers are pretty top of mind. So like, you know, cool treats and things like that. So we've got an assortment of that and different brands. One thing I will say is kind of interesting that people don't realize is whether it's a KitchenAid attachment or it's a Cuisinart like ice maker or ice cream maker, that's what it does, is you actually have to freeze the inside piece of it to make the ice cream. So that's one thing that's kind of interesting, but you could buy pre-made ice cream mixes that you could get started with, or you could do everything from scratch just based on what your desires are. But we have ice cream makers, and those are typically really great sellers, especially in the summer, novelty and things like that. We also have different attachments that do like Hawaiian ice and create those.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a really
That's
yummy thing.
Super popular.
Yeah, and I love that. We talked about uni a little bit, but that's kind of a fun summer thing, you know, like kind of gathering around making your own pizza. And so between those things, those are probably the most popular that we see in the summer in terms of like summer related fun, cool, you know,
Hard to beat pizza, ice cream, and shaved ice. I mean,
Right.
I have spicy watermelon margaritas in my Ninja Creamy canisters at home,
I love
like
that.
just waiting to be
You're so good with
blended
those
into
things.
a margarita. I love food,
Yeah.
which naturally I love gadgets that make yummy food. So yeah, we make ice cream a lot in it, but I've got a couple margaritas in the freezer waiting to be.
Oh my gosh, that's
What's-
so delightful.
let's talk about this recipe then, because
Yeah, that sounds
you know,
delicious.
why not share this information with the rest of us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so I blended up just watermelon in my Ninja blender situation, and then just poured the blended watermelon into the creamy canisters, added tequila and some lime juice, and a little triple sec, and just threw them in the freezer. And
So
then
smart.
you just run it on the sorbet setting, and you've got like the perfect consistency frozen margarita.
Man, what a Friday.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Right.
What
Today's-
is-
maybe
Uh-huh.
tonight's the night for
Yeah.
those.
Yeah. That's so simple.
Yeah.
It's a good recipe.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. Ivy, do you have any favorite recipes that you, not to put you on the spot, but certainly would love to keep the recipe
Yeah.
machine going?
Yeah. So I think another thing that's really easy, especially with just any blender, so you can do any blender, but frozen strawberries, and really just making those like into kind of a daiquiri. So you can either add rum or you could do virgin ones, but the kids love them, and it's a nice cool treat.
Kids
right?
love rum.
So
Yeah.
super. Yeah, they love rum. No.
The virgin kind, yes,
yeah.
of course.
The virgin ones, and then they feel really fancy.
Yeah,
and they get
yeah.
that too, right? So the
Yeah.
parents can have theirs and the kids can have theirs, but it just starts with like a frozen base, right? So you can throw strawberries. I've done just strawberries and a little bit of orange juice, and then you can do other things too.
Yeah.
So I think that
Yeah.
that's a simple, easy way to make something that's a really nice treat for everyone, and varying degrees of alcoholic versus non-alcoholic. And then I have like a really great pizza dough recipe that, like I mentioned already, that
Yeah.
it's super simple. I could tell you how to. You want me to tell you?
Yeah.
now?
do
Yeah.
it, yeah.
So I have it by memory. So it's essentially you're going to need a quick rise yeast. It's super easy, but it's 2 1/4 teaspoons of quick rise yeast, 2/3 cup of water, but the water has to be 110 to 115 degrees. And so it's because you want the yeast to bloom.
rise, yeah.
Yep. A teaspoon.
Do you have to heat that up then, or is it just like,
It's
how
just
do you?
through the tap. So you
Really?
just check
It's-
it.
Oh, okay.
Yep, you can do it through the tap. Then a teaspoon of sugar. You put those together for 10 minutes, let them ferment and kind of bloom a little bit. And then you add a cup and 3/4 of your choice of flour. So it could be whichever flour you want.
So you don't use the 00
I don't.
flour? Okay.
I know baking is very like specific and
Mhm.
it can be, but this one is like so easy. It's such an easy
Oh.
recipe.
Because that's just hard to find.
It is super hard to find.
Yes.
And I've done a mix of whole wheat with regular flour. But probably the one that we like the most through all of the trial and error is a mix of the whole wheat and regular flours to make it 1.1 3/4 cup. So it's 1 3/4 cup of flour, 1 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 1 tablespoon of olive oil. You mix that together. It's into kind of like a rough dough, and then you knead it for 3 to 5 minutes. And just until it's not sticky anymore. Then you put a little bit of olive oil back in the bowl that you put everything in to start with, and you kind of coat it, cover it up for 45 minutes, ready to go. It'll
Oh,
rise.
that's so fast.
Yeah, that's
so
I mean, for
right.
homemade.
Like
Yeah.
so easy.
yeah.
And I just put it in our microwave because it's like an easy covered space and it's kind of warm. It keeps everything a little bit warm.
Yeah.
And then you cook it, like I prep it, just roll it out, put it on whatever you want to either freeform it or put it in a pan. I've done both. Cook it for 7 minutes, like a pre-bake. This is not with the uni. I'm just saying, like, because I don't use the uni most of the time, like through the winter and stuff. So you can pre-bake it for 7 minutes, add all your toppings on it, bake it again for 13, or with uni, it's like 90 seconds.
What temperature are you baking it at?
Baking it at 450.
Okay.
That's so easy. The one I was doing, you have to make it like a day ahead
like that's
of
nice because you
time.
really like even if you wanted to
Yeah.
do it that night, you
Uh-huh.
could still do it.
Yeah.
It's so easy. I will email you guys the recipe. You can post it to this
Yeah.
podcast if people want to use it.
Love it.
I will say it came from marthastewart.com.
Oh,
Well,
the
because-
goat.
Why not?
Yeah, because why not?
My
'Cause,
idol.
You
you
need to
know.
reinvent the wheel.
Right.
She's already done it for
Thank
us.
you, Martha.
Yes.
That's Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg are my dream guests for the podcast.
Same.
Mhm.
I want a friendship like that. So
Yeah.
right?
Oh my
like,
gosh.
how pure is that?
100%.
I
Yeah.
love them.
Okay. Well, I think we've got a lot of good information for like summertime when it comes to small appliances, just with the idea of like how to use them, how it helps you, some specific products. I'd love to just talk though more generally about trends that you're seeing in small appliances. Is there anything that like you're super excited about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mentioned a little bit about the aesthetic, like that color explosion. You know, the colorways is such a big piece.
Mhm.
And that's been a lot of fun kind of seeing that. I feel like it started from my perspective in major appliances, we saw a lot more aesthetic.
Mhm.
And now it's really, you know, crescendoed into that being an extension of the kitchen with small appliances, which is a lot of fun.
Mhm.
We see a lot of like small space living now is emerging. So really interesting and thoughtful design around how do you reduce the footprint in the kitchen? How do you solve problems and do things like that while still having like an aesthetically pleasing product, which I think is really cool. Multi-function or multi-use product. We talked about that a little bit where it's multiple things within one unit, which is really helpful.
Mhm.
And then also we do have some smart pieces coming into small appliances. Again, that started more with majors, but there is smart technology being integrated into small appliances, especially the cookers, the things like that, that help kind of solve one, either time issues for you or triage if there's like an issue, like you have to change a filter or you have to, run a
Sure.
tablet through to clean out something. So we're seeing more of that, which is really helpful. And then we're also seeing a huge explosion in coffee.
Mm.
Coffee has been growing,
Okay.
Since 2020,
Mhm.
but every year it's growing by leaps and bounds. We're seeing a lot more companies and vendors coming into that space and a lot more people feeling confident in making their own coffee
Yeah.
at home.
Mhm.
So cold brew is a big
Yeah.
one, right? Like
Yeah.
everybody loves cold brew, but there's a lot of like answers to what customers are looking for out there to make things at home. So coffee is continuing to grow and we could talk like a whole podcast about coffee. So it's like, you've got drip coffee and you've got your semi-automatic and your automatic that makes like a latte, does everything for you. You don't have to do anything. It just depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So those are the things that we're seeing continue to grow and like really, come out in small appliances in a new way. So
Yeah, the number of people I've seen like buy espresso makers in their home and like years ago never would have like thought anybody would be that serious about it. But now I'm like,
so we have
maybe.
We got one 2 years ago.
Yeah.
My husband is like the barista.
Yeah.
And it's so fun.
Yeah.
I mean, at first, it's kind of cooled off a little bit, but like everybody would come to our house and like want a coffee.
Yeah.
It was very cute. It was
Yeah.
fun. But he makes himself he makes 2 every day. Like you just kind of, it's like clockwork.
Yeah.
And he was a Starbucks like 2 times a day kind of person before. And now it's replaced by that. And I love that. I love that he feels empowered to do it. And it's kind of a fun factor. And I like too that I know he's not stopping by Starbucks twice a day.
Yeah.
So it paid for itself like immediately.
Right.
I would think. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
And take good ROI on that.
Totally. And it's like, I do feel like a lot of the things that I picked up because of necessity when we had to in 2020 and on make me feel empowered and capable in the kitchen. And I kind of love that. And I think everyone should feel empowered and capable in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like you can make your own salad dressings with a immersion blender and all these different things are kind of fun. Making your own soups, like, all of that stuff, it didn't really occur to me before because I didn't have to do it. But now I'm like, wow, I am fantastic at making dough.
Uh-huh.
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
And I love that. I think all of our customers should get to experience that.
I agree.
What a perfect message to wrap us up. Ivy, thank you so much for doing this. This was really fun. I think out of all the episodes we did, this month. This one, I was like, oh, small appliances. Okay. But I've been blown away.
Well, good. I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear that. And it wasn't even a fan joke. Here we are. Just perfect in every way.
Oh, love it. Love it. Okay. Thanks again, Ivy. Thank you, Becca. Thank you, Hillary. Thank you to our co-producers, Scott and Ann. And finally, thank you to our listeners. We appreciate you. We want to hear from you too. We're looking for listener questions to feature on the show. So check out our new website at nfm.com/podcast. You can submit questions, pictures, whatever you got. We're essentially offering free advice for all of your home life questions. So submit those questions again at nfm.com/podcast. And we'll wrap up as we always do. Remember, home is what you make it.
Thanks for joining us today for I Am Home with Tyler Weisskopf, Hillary Woltemath, and Becca Sudbeck. No one knows home quite like NFM. So if you'd like more information on home design at NFM, please check out nfm.com and leave us a review on the podcast platform of your choice.